1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Now then, this is opened up that fast. I think now it's gonna open up like that. All right. Excellent. All right. Everything's good. I like that. But it's opened up again. That's opened up. Let's go ahead and move that. And then this would be what? All right. There we go. Hey there. My name is Stoic Soul, and we're gonna do some studying today. I'm going to do chapter 2 for Introduction to Business. We are understanding economics and how it affects the business. So for now, the major benefit of socialism is supposed to be social equality. So ideally, it comes about because the government takes income from wealthier people in the form of taxes and redistributes it to poorer people through various government programs. Free education through college, free healthcare, and free childcare are some of the benefits socialist governments using some of the benefits socialist governments using. Oh, let me read that again. Someone's kind of distracting with this dumb stuff. Free education throughout college, free healthcare, and free childcare are some of the benefits socialist governments using, or is it using the money from taxes may provide their people. Such education benefits helped Finland become the world leader in student achievement. Okay, I did not know that. Finland, huh? Finland. Maybe there are very professional people in some parts of education in there. In student. I'm gonna go get some coffee. I'll actually be right back. uneducated ass fucking punks, skinny ass anorexic, big head, ugly face looking bitch. Go ahead, try it again. Try it again, bitch. What you doing with your life? You ain't doing shit. Fuck talking about some fucking 5 foot bitch fucking make thinking they can fucking control me like that. Alright, excuse me. Kind of getting in a fight with my neighbor, very uneducated person. Acts like an animal. try to try to talk to him. Try to talk to them all like respectable member of society, and they just won't back up. Sometimes an animal needs to be treated like an animal. Anyways, I am back getting that coffee. So of course we learned that what socialism, right? That's when the government taxes the more richer people more and spreads that wealth throughout the population within its region, country, state, etc., and disperses it evenly throughout it through the government um, programs such as education, something else. Yeah, free healthcare and free childcare. These are some of them. All right, Finland, they are the world leaders in student achievement. Workers in socialist countries usually get longer vacations, work fewer hours per week, and have more employee benefits, e.g., generous sick leave, than those in countries where free market capitalism prevails. Really? Did not know that. But I guess the only downside to that is that who creates the company or business doesn't get to live above and beyond from everyone else. Everyone pretty much lives equally. But it seems like everyone tends to have a good life because it says everyone has longer vacations, work fewer hours per week, and have more employee benefits. You would have to research how the life of those within that area are. So then, things, let's not use things. Research socialist countries. They tend to work less hours per week, have longer vacations, and have more employee benefits than those countries where free market capi- capitalism prevails. I like that yellow. All right, next page. Negative consequences of socialism. So from what I found out, it's a little bit more difficult for me to type and read at the same time. Like, okay, what I mean is it's difficult to read the information and then type it or do that at the same time. I think that's a skill I haven't worked on. Like, I could copy down the information. Negative consequences of socialism. Right. As I was saying, it's a little bit difficult for me to read the information and remember the keys for the keyboard. But I haven't worked on that skill yet. Remember, just because something's a little bit difficult doesn't mean we can't do it. It just takes a little time to work on that. All right. So negative consequences of socialism. Socialism may create more equality than capitalism, but it takes away some business people's incentives. Incentives. All right. A thing that motivates or encourages one to do something. Man, alright. If I remember, go to format, character, no fill. Okay. Look at that, I learned. It's like I learned. Alright. Incentives. A thing that motivates or encourages one to do something. Alright. So then communism, economic, oh shit, wrong one. Different sentence. Okay. Socialism may create more equality than capitalism, but it takes away some of the business peoples. Didn't know that was a whole word on its own. Huh. It's not a whole word on its own? Huh, the book has it as one whole word. Typo. I guess I'm not the only one who makes mistakes. Even these professionals makes mistakes. Because it's printed on a book. Yeah, that's a lot of information processed, man, and to make sure that's why every sentence should be checked up on before you finish the whole work. Socialism may create more equality than capitalism, but it takes away some of the business people's incentives, which is what? A thing that motivates or encourages one to do something. That motivating factor would be the high profitable currency gain from the risk of running a business and using large amounts of cur all right, that was for myself. Okay, for example, tax rates in some socialist nations once reached 83%. Today, doctors, lawyers, business owners, and others who earn a lot of money pay very high tax rates. As a consequence, many of them leave socialist countries for capitalist countries with lower taxes, such as the United States. This loss of the best and brightest people to other countries is called a brain drain. Imagine an experiment in socialism in your own class. Imagine that after the first exam, those with grades of 90% and above have to give some of their points to those who have 70% and below so that everyone ends up with grades in the 80s. Would those who got 90s studies as hard for the second exam. What about those who got 70s? Can you see why workers may not work so hard or as well if they all get the same benefits regardless of how hard they work? So the reason to keep that up, right? Right. The reason to keep that up, in my opinion. So first of all, this whole part where the business owners and lawyers from those socialist countries that they will leave those countries for like the U.S. First of all, that's a little bit ungrateful of those, or very ungrateful, because first of all, in that socialist country, they're getting that free education. They're not paying shit for that education, right? So they're leaving the country that gave them that education for free, and saying, "Hey, man, thanks for the free education. I'm so fucking smart. I'm gonna go, not help out this country that gave me everything that I deserved or that I have, and go to another country and get a lot more." Then again, there's not. I mean, I don't know if there's anything wrong with that because I don't live in that country. But me, if I was the president or governor of that area, I'd say, well, hey, man, we just gave that free education. If you're gonna leave, why don't you pay us back the amount that it would have cost for you to get that education, become a lawyer, doctor in that other country? How about you pay us that back when you go over there? The whole point of that system would be we give you all this for free so that you can contribute to the system so that everyone could live the same way. The whole point of the hey, I know you're a little bit special, you're a little bit better than the rest, right? That's why you need to contribute for those who aren't able to. And because of that, although they are getting the same benefits you are, your job is a little bit easier. Like those other guys still got to work harder to get that income, while this other guy doesn't have to do as much. It's kind of like the manager and the cook. The manager is kind of supervising, telling what to do. He always has the ability to go there and help out, but a lot of them don't. I did, by the way. But either way, it's like the manager saying, "All right, man, we both make just about the same, but my job's easier, and your job's harder." So in reality, there is still a gain and a loss for both people. Although both are making the same amount of money, both getting the same the same benefits, the plus and minus is that the manager's job is easier and the cook's job is harder. That's still a gain, you know. It's not a profitable gain, but you're still living a higher um you're still living a higher quality of life compared to the cook. There is a quote that all evil derives from greed and hatred. Then again, it all depends on a lot of that. But if I was the governor of that socialist country and someone wanted to just like leave after getting that free education and go help out the other country, I'd be kind of mad. I'd be like, hey, man, we paid for education, your free healthcare, man. And you're like, oh, I want more, man. How about you contribute a little bit more to the country then? I would probably have some sort of tax thing where it's like, if they decide to leave the country, they gotta at least pay back the education. But for the capitalist country like the U.S., that's actually good. That's actually very cool for them. They're like, haha, hey man, come and join the winning side. I see you got that education for free already. Come on down here, man. Help us out. For them, it's like, all right, man. Then again, the U.S. does give you that bang for your buck kind of thing. Well, some businesses do, some don't. Like for instance, Burger King is that definition of bang for your buck, man. Charlie Jr. is actually a bang for your buck too, kind of, depending on the kind of food you get. Like Burger King has the whole like two meal thing for like $22. I think it's like four chicken sandwiches and like two small fries and two drinks for like $22. That's a deal, man. for 1 whole hour, a little bit higher than an hour, right? Just a little bit higher than an hour. You get a whole meal for 2 people. That's very satisfying too. Not only that, you got that Bacon King for about half an hour of work. You get a double premium burger pattied burger with cheese and bacon, along with a yeah. And then for like $3 to $4 more, you get the fries and the drink. Realistically, I would only want the drink. I would probably want some carrots on the side. The fries are cool too, actually, depending. It all depends on how you're feeling on that day. Wingstop used to have that. They had that 15 or 20 piece boneless wing for like 15, $16. I think it went up to like 18 and like now it's a little bit more. But back then that was a good. Anyways, socialism also tends to result in fewer inventions and less innovations because those who come up with the new ideas usually don't receive as much reward as they would in capitalist systems. Right there for that, right? It is the mindset of the people or the person. The mindset, right, should not, or if you were to live in that country and you're for that country, that socialism, the mindset shouldn't really be about the whole income reward. It would be more of for the people, since the people do get a lot of stuff for free, like free education, free healthcare. Sorry, I had to go check something out. All right, like I was going on about. What now, man? Actually, not bad. That's higher than it was earlier. All right, just have to continue like that. All right. So then, can you see why workers may not work as hard as? Okay, I think I already read past that. Fewer inventions and less innovation because those who come up with new ideas usually don't receive as much reward as they would in a capitalist system. Communism may be considered a more intensive version of socialism. We shall explore that system next. Although socialism gives an even distribution of wealth throughout 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 the population. There is a benefit or gain aside from income. Those with certain jobs have it have it easier in terms of workloads, such as a manager versus a cook, though the manager can always step in to help for the cause of the business and the ease up of the workload off of the cook. They normally don't. I I myself have stepped in and worked and helped the workers to ease up the workload and increase sales for the food industry and business. It's capitalized. The mindset of socialism in that country is for the cause of overall so overall so overall society. Mindset of socialism that country is the mindset of social in that country is for the cause and for the continuation of free education, health care, and other benefits such as less work hours and larger vacations. The invention and innovation incentive should be a pride of the easier um, quality of life that the socialism country offers, and the betterment of society. Though there is not anything wrong with wanting to live in a capitalist free market country such as the US. It is a bit more difficult since can't really say that. Moving from a socialist country that gave you the free education and health care would be a bit ungrateful, unless of course that person somehow makes up for it to that socialist country. For the free for the can it really be a huge gain? Because think about it, if they left that country, right? they're pretty much just trying to take more of the income from the country over actually trying to better the country. Because think about it this way: if they left that socialist country that gave them everything, right, and they didn't stay there to better that country, they're going to do the same thing in the U.S. or other countries with the free market because they're just thinking about themselves. Who's to say that they won't just take the money they gain from the U.S. and go spend it in another country, or go let's take all that and it's yeah. So there would be kind of like a leech. Think about it. Unless of course they actually have plans and show they're making plans to better the U.S. That'd be like the only reason why you would take someone from a socialist country into the U.S. Because like, all right, cool. Unless of course you want a lawyer, right? You need a top dog lawyer, but we have that here too in the U.S. So it's like, all right, man. Unless of course you from this socialist country are a lawyer and you show superior knowledge and skill and debate skills over our large group, right? That's the only time you'd want to take a lawyer from like that other country. Unless of course they're patriotic for the U.S. too, and they're for the cause, and that you would want to take them. But their thing is like, oh yeah, man, I'm just trying to make a lot of money here. It's like, all right, man, well, is that it? Now, if they're a doctor, right, that's a huge plus, right? Because it's like, all right, man, we know how long it takes for doctors to become doctors. As long as you show your skill and you're that good, of course we'll take you in because that's another doctor. Yeah, sure, you're gonna get a lot of money, but that's something we would really need because there's one doctor taking care of another patient, or this professional that you are the same professional is doing something. There is another patient that is in need of that doctor. So you being able to, you duplicating what he is a lot of help. For businessmen, unless of course they're innovated, then again, the businessman doesn't really create the actual idea unless if he himself is educated in that field, such as engineering or bioengineering. That's the only time you would take in some sort of businessman from a socialist country, because that there is just like, yeah, man, I'm just trying to gain money from that country, and it's like, who's to say he's not going to move out to a different country after that and then spend all that somewhere else? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they're pretty much just saying, ha, we got free education here, we'll take the free money there, and we'll go spend it wherever. But that's just my theory and my analysis, observation. That's why, at least I don't know about the other countries, all right, because I'm not from those other countries. But here, it's always about taking care of the need or wants of the population, of the customer, and having a cause. We have something they call the business quote. What is the reason aside from making money? Um, kind of like some medical fields would be like, yeah, of course we're profit oriented, but the cause of the profit is to cure humans um, from DNA damage and creating low cost nutritional food that is not harmful for the human body. That's usually how a business quote is made. Like, yes, we are for profit, but we have a cause. All right, I'll finish my coffee, man. Man, those are some filler words. I think that's what they call them, word fillers that I need to get rid of. You know, um, that's a big one. Um, you know, man. I actually didn't have that problem as soon as I took my speech class and learned how to do presentations. I actually started using those word fillers when I started to socialize a little bit more with other non educated oriented people who would have to damn it who I would have to who I would have to interact with. Usually because when I would take a pause, they would think I'm dumb or there was some sort of mental problem. If they themselves use words like and or like, or they would just say the word over and over again until they got what they needed to say. But I am not around those people anymore. I am a free man, away from the dumb, uneducated people or those who just decided to say they go to a class just to have a certain title and brag about it. The whole goal for me was to actually get or become that what is determined or classified as an educated person or someone who is highly intelligent and has learned ways of the academic system because they have been proven and tested out and proven to be the better way to interacting or being. Then again, someone creating a new constructed sentence, let me rephrase that. When expressing yourself, forming a newly constructed sentence that you are not used to expressing or saying out loud takes time, such as when you are writing. There's something called a free flow sentence where it just where you are just able to execute it, say it or type it immediately. But compared to a actually thought out constructed sentence, the thought out constructed sentence does tend to take longer or would require some pauses before completing the sentence. Then, as soon as you have had practice constructing that freshly constructed sentence, you are able to express that or other similar sentences out loud or in paper quicker and more freely and in different variations. That is just how our um forgot the actual word, but I think it's I don't remember the actual word, but I will just say that it's some sort of neurological linking between your neurons from one brain cell to another. It has some sort of electrical circuitry that binds those neurons, brain cells, and it fires off sort of like this electrical cord. And the more that you repeat that sort of behavior or speech, the stronger that electrical current between that neuron or brain cell to a different one or a new created electrical circuit, the stronger it'll get. All right, that was a lot of explaining that I didn't have to do. Communism may be considered a more intensive version of socialism. Intensive. What is intensive? Intense, a stronger. Concentrated on a single area, subject, or into a short time, very thorough or vigorous. Vigorous. Expressing intensely, given force of emphasis. Vigorous, strong, healthy, full of energy. Forceful, forceful. Strength, effort, energy, stronger, right? Intense, sort of saying all out. It is an all out version to the maximum extent. All right. Understanding communism is an. I didn't type that. I was wondering why I wasn't hitting the proper one. My finger was on the wrong place. Those guys are class clowns. I didn't write a whole book. I wrote a whole page. There wasn't much to talk about either way. That's all the information I needed to say for you to fully understand what having full control of your brain would be. There's not much more to say. I'm not gonna tell a story or prolong that. The whole point of my sort of book or the information I was giving was more of an article, more of a these are the know-hows, what to do's. This is the manual. You don't need a whole book for this. That was my whole book of power. I should just call it the article of power. But the reason why I called the book of power was because I was supposed to continue my self education, or should I say, my own experiments and theories and testing them out, and then writing many different articles on that or pages on that, and then it would eventually become a book. But yeah, man. Communism is an economic. I don't know why I put that comma there. Political system in which the government makes almost all economic decisions and own almost the major factors of production. Communism is an economic political system in which the government makes, almost all economic decisions and own almost the major factors of production. So with this, right, saying that the government, the government, right, makes all economic decisions and own almost the major factors of production. Almost all. So with that, right, with this system, I would think that those in the government must be highly skilled, educated, and experienced in the important fields and in the important industries that the population and the population and the country depends on. Some that I would think are business, business, agricultural, and food industry, economics, human behavior, world, was it world what? World industries. Global market, no, global, international business, biz business business and international business and and human relations. Can't stop the human mind. Can't stop my human mind. As long as the only value I bring into myself is myself and those who I care about, then everything else could have their value removed. As long as someone becomes independent financially and work wise and where they get that finance, so long as it's not easily controlled by a mass population of stupid idiots, you're free to play and become and be whoever the heck you want to be. As long as you're the highest competitor within that, or you have already built your millions and billions, you're free to do whatever you want. For instance, if you have a job and you still are dependent within that job and you don't have enough income to take care of your human needs and your housing, then obviously, but once you have that, you're free to play, you're free to do whatever you want. And as long as you create a product that is always going to be popular, you don't really have to care. And always, right? There's always the younger generation, the older generation, or a different population in a different region that would that can benefit from your product, even if someone tries to destroy your reputation or your character. You could always counter that back with who you really are. And even then, as long as you have more redeeming qualities, more you show that you are more good than bad, and that your bad isn't even harmful to anyone, and that others are just making it seem as it is, you're pretty much winning. People will eventually see. All right. Damn it. Oh my god, this is so dumb. Oh, that's weird. All right. I was taking a little break. All right. Where am I at? Should still be at 0 here. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Communism. All right. Political. Okay. Decisions almost. Okay. It intrudes further into the lives of people than socialism does. For example, some communist countries have not allowed their citizens to practice certain religions, job changes, or move to the town of their choice. One problem with communism is that the government has no way of knowing what to produce because price don't reflect supply and demand as they do in free markets. The government must guess what the people need. As a result, shortages of many items, including food and clothing, may be developed. Another problem is that communism doesn't inspire business people to work hard because the incentives are not there. Therefore, communism is slowly disappearing as an economic form. So then, pro- problems with communism. Problems with communism are that the government does not know what the people need or want, so there are often times food shortages. Solution would be what? Would be to a list, create a survey in either paper or more efficient online or text um surveys asking their pop population how asking their population what are their needs and wants, how often they use a product or service. Also, um, logging down the expenses and logging down the amount of shut up. Also logging down the amount of product that is sold within the businesses such such as food markets and communicating with the managers and suppliers. This makes it so the government and managers are able to keep track of the populations come on man needs and wants. The incentives for harder work for workers with stronger work output would be um for the government to continuous continue new I don't know how to spell that word. Continuously okay continuously show the population how how their work can contribute to growth in quality of life for themselves and for everyone else within that country, also showing them how bad it can get for them in terms of quality of life. Alright. One problem with communism is that government has no way. Okay. Another problem is that communism doesn't inspire business people to work hard because incentives are not there. Therefore, communism is slowly disappearing as an economic form. Most communist countries today are suffering severe economic depression. In North Korea, many people are starving. That would be the incentive right there, right? To not starve. That's why work hard so that you don't starve. That would be the incentive. I don't get that. Probably just lazy people within that country. Think about it. It's like, would you really rather starve than work hard? That's stupid. In Cuba, people suffer a lack of goods and services. In Cuba, people lack in people damn it. In Cuba, people suffer a lack of goods and services readily available in many other countries, and some fear the government. Even so, there seems to be a movement toward communist principles in Venezuela following the Cuban model. That could only be, in my opinion, right? They should only push for that if the government itself has plans and knows how to generate wealth and distribute it around that country, or if they have business people that have moved there and know how to do that. While some parts of the former Soviet Union, while some parts of Soviet Union remain under communist ideals, Russia itself now has a flat tax of only 13%. That's good. Yet this low rate increased the government's tax revenues by nearly 30%. What? Yet this low rate increased the government's tax revenues. The income that is collected by the government through taxation. So that increased their taxes, okay? Don't really know how. Maybe because the less that the population was getting taxed, the more those companies were able to profit and generate wealth and be able to operate their businesses and services and create their product, making it so that those business people and companies and right would actually be able to thrive, making it where it's like, all right, we don't have to pay so much in taxes that we are finally able to actually generate wealth and give at least the 13%. Yet this low rate increased the government's tax revenue by 30%, which is good, very good. 30% is actually it actually makes a big difference depending on obviously on how much is being made. That's very good. That's like a lot because more people were willing to pay. The trend toward free markets is growing in Vietnam and parts of China as well. The regions of China that are most free have prospered rapidly while the rest of the country has grown relatively slow. Remnants of China's communist system, such as political and religious oppression, still exist somewhere, however. All right, I finished the third section four. Four more to go. After this, it should be four. So it's five, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so I have five sections because we're counting on four. Because we're not done, because I am not done with four. Analyze the trend toward mixed economies. That is the learning goal. To analyze the trend toward mixed economies. The goal of section 4 is to analyze the trends, the trend toward mixed economy. All right. How's my stream? Pretty sure it's bad. All right. Making themselves seem like that, not me. The trend toward mixed economies. All right. The nations of the world have largely been divided between those that followed the concepts. The nations of the world have largely been divided between those that followed the concepts of capitalism and those that adopted the concepts of communism or socialism. Let's go back to capitalism again. The US is free market capitalism, though. All right. I don't think I wrote it down. All right. Ugh. An economic system where private individuals, right, is an economy. It's economic system where private individuals or companies own and control the means of production. such as factories, and land with the goal of generating profit. I have to read that again because I was typing that. Capitalism is an economic system where private individuals or companies own and control the means of production, such as factories, land. What the goal? Fold. The goal of generating profit. All right. It means that the government doesn't create that stuff. So when I do that, why to go up? Ah. Okay, so I'll go here. Delete that. Format. Character. No fill. All right. Okay. They're divided, right? Okay, between those that follow the concepts of capitalism and those that adopted the concepts of communism or socialism. We can now contrast the two major economic systems. Free market economies exist when the market largely determines what goods and services get produced, who gets them, and how the economy grows. Capitalism is the popular term for this economic system. Exists when the market largely determines what goods and services get produced, who who gets them, and how the economy grows. Capitalism is the popular term for free market economics exists when the market largely determines what goods and services get produced, who gets them, and how the economy grows. Capitalism is the popular term for this. So then it would be what? The people within the population who determines what goods and services get produced. So then they themselves have to go ahead and do surveys and research and find out what is needed, or they just create it themselves based upon how they think or what they believe others would also want. Although, oh yeah, command economies, have not heard of that. Command economic economies. Command economies exist when the government largely decides what goods and services will be produced, who gets them, and how the economy will grow. Socialism and communism are variations on this economic system. All right. The government largely decides what goods and services will be produced, who gets them, and how the economy will grow. All right, yeah. I don't know what I did, man. So then if I were to do this, right? Control H. Damn it, bro. Oh my god, man. Format, character, no fill. Okay. All right. Although all countries actually have some mix of two systems, although all countries actually have some mix of two systems, neither free market nor command economics have resulted in optimal economic conditions. Free market mechanisms don't seem to respond enough to the needs of the poor, the old, or the disabled. Some people also believe that businesses and free market economies have not done enough to protect the environment. We shall discuss that issue throughout the text. Over time, voters in mostly free market countries such as the United States have elected officials who have adopted many social and environmental programs such as Social Security, welfare, and unemployment compensation, and various clean air and water acts. What new or enhanced social policies do you know of that are being considered today? That's very cool. Very good. Socialism and communism haven't always created enough jobs or wealth to keep economies growing fast. Thus, communist governments are disappearing. Thus, communist governments are disappearing. And some socialist governments have been cutting back on social programs and lowering taxes on businesses and workers to generate more business growth and more revenue. The Reaching Beyond Our Borders box discuss how the economy of China has been growing despite its communist base. The Reaching Beyond Our Borders box discuss, okay. The trend then has been for mostly capitalist countries like the United States to move towards socialism. What? The trend then has been for mostly capitalist countries like the United States to move towards socialism, more government involvement in the healthcare, and for mostly socialist countries such as France and China to move toward capitalism. I understand that. Reaching beyond our borders. China's changing economy. It is important when studying economics to look at countries throughout the world to see how they are doing economically. One country that has been in the news a lot lately is China. China's economy is growing two or three times faster than the United States. As a consequence of that rapid growth, China is worried about inflation and the possibility of housing crash and market drop, much like the one experienced recently in the US. I don't really see a problem with that unless, of course, they spent a lot of money on creating those houses and then losing profit in that. Though it would help out a lot the population by them being able to afford those houses that might be overpriced or high priced. giving the population the freedom of not having to pay as much with that, and then they would be able to focus more on work. It's like a minus for a gain. It's like losing one to gain two, or like losing one or two to gain four or five. Oh. And see how they are doing economically. Highlight that red. How do I take that off though? And why does it go back there? Click on that, then I click that. If I click that, why does it do that? Okay, format, character, font. That's background. Damn it, it crashed. I don't even think I saved it. There we go. I want to try this out. Alright, man. All right, learning goal number 5. Describe the economic system of the United States, including the significance of key economic indicators. Describe the economic system of the United States. Include the significance of key economic indicators. Key economic indicators. Ah, fuck. Goal 5. Describe the economic system the the United States, including the significance of key. I haven't finished that sentence. Come on, man. Key economic indicators. Especially GDP. Productivity and the business cycle. All right. Goal 5. Describe the economic system of the United States. All right. Describe the economic system of the United States. Which is the capitalist slash socialism, including the significance of key economic indicators, especially GDP. Key economic indicators, productivity, and the business cycle. All right, man, those are important. Pretty sure the business cycle is the dang it, attributes, huh? I should learn this in my accounting class. Just read the book. It's not that fucking difficult. Just read the fucking book. Making it sound like some sort of God-given fucking skill or talent. All right, cool. All right then. For this, all right. Business cycle, that should be the way that, or what we call the cycle, right? The rotation of the factors that makes the business run. Not too sure. Don't remember. It's been a while. But for one, it would be when they have to produce the goods, when the consumer purchases the goods. There's a third one. Production, sell, produce, distribute, sell. Something like that. All right, whatever. Key economic indicators. All right. Understanding the U.S. economic system. The following section will introduce the terms and concepts that you, as an informed citizen, will need to understand in order to grasp the issues facing government and business leaders in the United States. As an informed citizen, will need to understand in order to grasp the issues facing government and business leaders the United States. All right. Key economic indicators. Three major indicators of economic conditions. Key economic indicators. The three major indicators of the economic conditions are the gross domestic product, GDP, the unemployment rate, and what happened there, man? Unemployment rate, and three, the price index. And the price index is, all right. Another important statistic is the increase or decrease of productivity. Control U, right? Control Shift A. Control Shift H. Dang it. All right. All right. I just barely started this one, right? Yeah, go 5.